1994, my uncle owned a video store in Ontario, and he had called me one day and told me, "There's these videos that you got to watch. I think you'll love them." And it was the UFC 1 and 2 with Royce Gracie, and me and my cousin Batiste, one of the co-founders with Millennia here with me, we got the videos and started watching them, and we were always little trouble kids, always running around, getting into trouble, and jiu-jitsu actually kind of saved our lives. We fell in love instantly, and found a gym in Rancho Cucamonga under a black belt, and we started training, and the rest is history. Very important. I really believe that knowing how to defend and knowing how to apply submissions properly, work position and stuff like that is important for MMA, because as the sport evolves, the fighters are becoming more and more well-rounded, where at one point it was just a kickboxer versus a jiu-jitsu guy, or a wrestler versus a karate guy. Now it's evolved to the point where every fighter has got a ground game, has got a wrestling game, has got a stand-up game, and the higher level jiu-jitsu guys are still able to dominate at a much better pace, or a much better rate than the average jiu-jitsu guy. So jiu-jitsu is very important. In 1999, we started Millennia in Pomona, California. It was me and two other partners that started it. It started off as a small gym, which we were just pretty much just teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and as the development of King of the Cage started up, we had opportunities to start fighting in the cage, neutral grounds, other local small events. At that time, which was illegal, MMA was illegal, we evolved into an MMA gym where we started training fighters, we started fighting ourselves, and that's how the Millennia turned into the MMA gym it is now. It was originally just a jiu-jitsu gym. We have Daryl Montague, who's the Tachi flyweight world champ at 125. He's fighting Ian McCall in August. We have Georgie Karakanian, who's fighting Spence in M1. He's 15 and 3, I believe. Daryl is 10 and 1. We have Camilo Gonzalez, who's one of our up-and-coming elite bantamweights. He's got a fight coming up in July for a world title. Roberto Vargas, he's got a tough fight coming up in July. He's 10 and 1 as a pro. And then I also have Brandon Bender, who's an instructor here at the Chino Hills location. He's 9 and 0 as a professional fighter, and also a world champion. We have Manny Tapia, who's a UFC vet, a WC vet. Charlie Valencia, who's a UFC vet. So we have a good stable of fighters, especially in the flyweight to lightweight division. Every fight is a little different depending on who their opponent is. Every camp, every fighter's got a certain strategy that we're going to work on. Sometimes we're fighting a striker. We try to be able to counter his strong points and also expose his weak points. So there's not a set camp for every single fighter, or a set camp that every fighter goes by. Each individual fighter has a certain game plan that we stick with, and a training strategy. We have over 35 different coaches at Millennia, from Olympic caliber wrestling coaches to judo black belts, Muay Thai world champions, jiu-jitsu black belts. So depending on who the fighter is, we put them in contact with certain coaches to really sharpen those tools against the kind of opponents that they're looking to fight. I think the biggest thing with Millennia is it's kind of like a brotherhood. Everyone there, the secret, and I tell people the secret recipe to Millennia's success is just a good team base with the guys. Everyone knows they're getting ready for fights. Everyone shows up for camp and helps each other get ready. And the biggest thing is when practice is going on, or when they're sparring, it's very intense and it's very competitive. But at the end of the day, once practice is done, they realize that there's no egos anymore. It's just teammates helping each other out. I really like the Shudo rules. I know Camo, the amateur league in California, do have catch points. And I really think that the UFC, from the UFC all the way to pro MMA sanctioned fights, should have that incorporated in the judging system, because they pretty much judge everything off aggressiveness, takedowns, knockdowns, and stuff like that. But what I believe people don't, or a fighter doesn't get scored on, is submission attempts. And Shudo, if you almost catch somebody with a submission and the person has to stop their offensive movement to defend a submission, they will get a catch point, which goes to the cards if it ends up becoming a decision. And I think that's something that should be incorporated in the judging system, because you got a guy who's fighting somebody who gets taken down in the round, but the guy that takes the guy down, he just sits on the guard, working a little bit of body shots here and there, throwing some elbows here and there, doing just enough to not get stood up by the judge. Whereas the guy on the bottom, he's almost got him in submission after submission, triangle, arm bar, every submission in the book. But at the end of the round, the guy who scored the takedown wins the round. And I really don't think that's a fair way to assess a round, to judge a round that way when somebody's putting somebody in that kind of danger. We just opened up this location in May. We had a grand opening, which was a total success. It was a great turnout. Our gym is doing wonderfully. We have a great staff. I think what makes Millennia Chino Hills stand out over a lot of the other gyms is the level of instruction that we have here. We have Brandon Bender, who's a black belt under Batista and I, and undefeated MMA fighter at 9-0 and a world champion. You got a guy like that that's teaching your jiu-jitsu program, you're teaching your kids. You have Daryl Montague, who's 10-1 as a professional fighter, who teaches the kickboxing program and boxing program, and also one of the some of the kids' classes. You have Georgi Karakanian, who's a Bellator veteran, who's getting ready for M1. He's 15-3, and he also teaches. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu under Batista and he teaches the adult and kids program as well too. So it's a combination of putting the right instructors with the right management and having a friendly environment, a clean gym, and well-instructed classes. No, I swallowed that pill a while back. I was interested in fighting again at one point, but I've taken on so much as far as a coach now, where I think if I were to ever go back into MMA, I would really take the time away from my fighters, and that's my #1 priority right now. Running my gym, making sure my students are happy, and making sure that my fighters are prepared for all the fights. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to X-Guard for coming out here. Thank you for the new gi. This gi rocks. I already got a chance to roll in it. It's my favorite gi. I want to give a shout out to all the fighters from the gym, all the people that have supported Millennia in the past. None of us would be here without everyone's support. I want to thank everyone that came out to the grand opening for Chino Hills. We really do appreciate it. And if you're in the Chino Hills area and you want to get a good workout, come by our gym.